What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Stand Up Guys Podcast, episode 183. I'm your host, incomparable Zach Jones, joined as always by star of Nutbusters, Hose for Hire, the phenomenal A.J. Singh.
I'm famous. What's up, everybody?
Today we will be doing our review of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. But before we get to probably the longest and most detailed review of this movie on the internet, we like to always start, AJ, with a kind of a spoiler-free overall impressions of the movie. So I got to ask you, I saw this movie a couple days ago. You just got out of the theater. This time around, did Bustin' make you feel good?
First of all, I wish that line was in that. He was so close to saying it, and it's such a meme, Like I feel like he should have said it, but
Actually, doesn't Paul Rudd say it when he's talking to?
He almost says it, but she stops him. She's like, "That's enough,"
Oh, I
like,
thought he did actually say. Okay.
But yeah, I like this movie. Of course, like it was super cheesy and corny, but they almost always are. And it's geared towards kids anyway, so that's the thing. So I think all in all, it was a pretty fun movie.
Okay, here's my thing. I didn't hate this movie, but I did find it kind of disappointing and kind of mediocre. I think my biggest problem is, and we reviewed the Ghostbusters Afterlife on this channel as well, if people want to go back and see that. And I like that movie okay as well. I was kind of lukewarm on it, but I think I like that movie a little bit more than this one. I think my problem is these movies not they use nostalgia as a crutch, I think, rather than doing their own thing enough. And I was a little more forgiving of it in the first movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife, because number one, the original Ghostbusters weren't in that one as much. Number two, I feel like that film was basically just a tribute to Harold Ramis in a lot of ways. So like I was kind of okay with it. And number three, I felt in that film it was kind of like the old timers say it, like putting their stamp of approval like on this new cast, and saying, yeah, we're okay with this. And so I was more forgiving it for it there, but now with this movie, like I wanted them to take the training wheels off. I wanted them to do their own thing more. And like again, they just bring back things we've seen before. They keep bringing back the original cast members, and like I'll say this. I think Dan Aykroyd, both Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson, they at least like try in this movie. I think Bill Murray did phone it in a little bit, if I'm being honest.
For sure. Yeah.
The other two, I think I genuinely tried, but them being in the movie so much, I think ate up screen time that could be going to new characters. I think of like Finn Wolfhard, like like everything he did in the movie was fine, but I feel like his character took a back seat. Like we had a little internet issue, but yeah, we were talking about how Finn Wolfhard, his character didn't get much to do in this movie, and the other thing,
one of the bigger names in this movie, like as a young person, he's the biggest name for those young people, right? Like
coming off of like Stranger Things, yeah, I would say so. And the other thing that kind of bugged me in this movie is like one of the themes of the movie, which I don't have a problem with, is this whole thing like found family and like, Paul Rudd kind of coming into like the stepdad role and everything. That's like an evergreen theme, and I'm okay with it. But I feel like this movie, and we'll get into it more as we get into spoilers, I feel like they kind of like really manufactured they tried to manufacture some tension between like those characters, but I never really bought into it that there was much there. They all seem like good people. They all seem like they're a family that for the most part gets along.
I didn't pick up any tension at all. Like it went over my head.
They do kind of try to squeeze some in there mostly between the daughter Phoebe and the parents at different points. But again, like it felt a little bit forced, and it just, I don't know, it was never enough to really have a payoff, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
So AJ, usually in this section, we say, like, would we recommend seeing this in theaters, wait for streaming, or not watch at all? What's your recommendation?
I'd say wait for streaming. Watch it with the family at home.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, this movie's not a travesty. It's totally watchable. But I think at the end of the day, it'll also be somewhat like forgettable. I don't think it's worth your hard-earned dollars unless you're just a die-hard Ghostbusters fan to see it in theaters. Yeah, I say 100% wait for streaming. It's fun enough, but like I said, it just and as we get into spoilers, we'll get into it more. It just kind of trots out nostalgia over and over again. And like, if I had one note to like people like rebooting franchises, it's if we could put a moratorium on like nostalgia and memberberry overload, that would be
Yeah,
great.
they really went
Because
overboard. Yeah, you're right.
there just wasn't enough original stuff in this movie. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to mention, I call this the not reading the room problem with this movie, is there was a character in the original film, Ghostbusters Afterlife, named Podcast, which
Hmm.
I feel like everybody hated. And they bring him back in this movie, and I'm like, what is with this kid? Is he like the son of an executive or something? Like, I don't know. I find this character annoying.
I think he's just supposed to be comic relief, but he wasn't funny. So
Mm-mm.
I don't know what the point was. Yeah.
No, terrible character.
Hmm.
Please do away with him going into the future, or do a brave move and have him killed off. But then they just bring him back as a ghost, so he still wouldn't be rid of him.
I've got my issues with this movie. That's one of them. We'll get into it as it goes.